On Giants. Mounds, Monsters, Myth and Man, or Why We Want to Be Small, by Brad Lockwood.
Copyright 2010, Brad Lockwood, all rights reserved.
This is our innate need for myth. What do we see when daunted? What did both the early Irish and natives along Long Island Sound imagine to make sense of their natural obstructions? Giant's Causeway and Hellgate. Obstacles, anomalies, or mysterious man-made earthworks. A monster, mightier than we, simply had to be involved. Homer saw Cyclops, Atlantis. Increased Mather saw proof of the Great Flood. Mormons still seek lost tribes and giant bones. What do we see? How to grasp what we can't understand? Aliens, immense primates, terrorists taller and holier than they really are? All our imaginations conjure is brutal and beautiful. An idea, a notion, something new yet recurring throughout the history of all ages and races of mankind. Myth. If whites were digging up giant bones, so too were earlier Native Americans. And, in finding massive bones beneath their feet, what were they to make of them? A myth. It's only natural, innate. Of course we domesticated these giant beasts. We had to. How couldn't we? Native Americans were now the giants. They'd conquered this land, mining ore and making elaborate artwork and earthworks. It's interesting that they remembered the mastodon long after their extinction. Engrave it. Make it real. Let there be proof for all to see. Whether hung from a church or buried and burned in effigy, told and retold in oral tradition and or transcribed into what became the Bible, mankind must have myth in order to prove our own existence, our dominance. Belief in ourselves is restored through stories of conquering something greater, whether a flood, Goliath, an enemy, while our faith is rekindled in believing that there is something far more powerful than we will ever be. Faith requires modesty, psychological subjugation. We are all descended from giants and remain so, inbred mutants. Even as this earth we have long conquered depends on our actions for survival, we still revert to our ancient need for myth, whether beasts, giants, or aliens. Something bigger controls us. And this is only a distraction from the reality we now face. We're creating and reinventing myths all the time, but maybe our technological advances...
Footnote.
An early astronomical quote-unquote computer has been dated to the 2nd century BC. The Antikythera mechanism found on a sunk Roman ship off the island of Antikythera contains 30 to 37 hand-cut bronze gear wheels with 53 teeth cut into some thought to track planetary and lunar motions, offering, quote, an unexpected degree of technical sophistication for the period, as reported in November 2006 by a team of British, Greek, and American researchers. Instruments of comparable sophistication wouldn't appear again for another 1,000 years, most famously in Arabic Baghdad around 900 AD.
Dare I say evolution? Will at last allow us to finally free ourselves? We must have myth, religion, and even racism, but we are simply too intelligent to deny the truth another day. Evolve. I wanted to believe in giants, but found them the invention of men, proving myself and them all too fallible. I seriously doubt a bloodthirsty Erie Indian is the image modern-day Native Americans want to put forward. The Erie were in fact average, no taller or stronger than any other tribe, and eradicated by the first democracy in America. The Bible has been edited by waves of administrations over millennia. Multiple men, women exempted of course, however holy, recently held a runoff election before Joseph Ratzinger, a former, quote, involuntary Nazi youth who led the cover-up of priests sexually abusing children, was anointed Pope+Benedict XVI. Paul+Bunyan was co-opted to endorse deforestation and strip mining, while the Jolly+Green+Giant also promoted smoking. Osama+bin+Laden stands 6 foot plus, but not so towering or all that holy. and actually learn terrorism from our own government. Tell everyone, spread the word. We must dispel man-made myths before they catch on, parasitic in nature, further contaminating. Let our next myth do just that, both captivate and clarify. An enigma. Let it start as a rumor, told and retold. Our new myth will be based on both science and faith. A fantastic, honest, yet mystic myth.
We have already created what will destroy us.
We must now invent our salvation.
The coming catastrophe is of our own making. So, even as we search for monsters to fear and faithful to fool, we must each also embrace the growing rumor, reality of our coming fate. Our climate is changing rapidly, inalterably. The only ones spreading myth these days are those in denial. Know it in your hearts, minds, accept it, live it, believe, and act before another future race is unearthing our remains, atop other civilizations exposed after the earth shirked us off, cooled again, and is being reborn. They'll wonder where we all went and how we couldn't see such an obvious, irrefutable threat. Us. We are descended from giants. Those giants who first conquered the world. Why do we want to be small? We must rise again to save ourselves. Ourselves. We've learned that we don't know our family tree whatsoever. We know that scientists keep finding new things, and then that rewrites our history. We've also found that over time, the concept of giants has been perverted, rewritten. Goliath growing by 3 feet over 2,000 years. And a very interesting antiquarian named Theseus Apollyon Cheney created a new record, a new historical record by finding big bones throughout western New York. He's still quoted today, as are a lot of the stories, and a few of them we've already disproved here. So it really shows you that when it comes to giants, it's hard to believe anything. Who do you trust? Well, I know when doing this project, we found some great talent, some really good people, and I wanted to give some shouts out to them. One of the main things you learn with giants and all myth is the further you dig back, you peel an onion, you peel back the layers, the truth, the lies, give it a clean shave, you're left with people. Human beings creating tall tales. That's what we got here, folks. Why we want to be small. There wasn't some giant supernatural creature that had nothing to do with biblical floods or anything like that. It all comes back to people, just like us. We have looked the same for the last 100,000 years. And now it's up to us. We've created this mess. It's time to clean it up. There's no more ice bridges. There's no more great undiscovered Atlantises, lands, fantastic alien, ancient technologies that we'll discover to save ourselves. It all comes down to us. It's like that first person who saw the ice bridge and said, "What's over there?" Or got in a boat and set sail across the sea to a new land. Our new land is somewhere, but it's right here, right now. We've run out of places to run, and the only giants on this earth are us. We've destroyed everything else. I hope you've enjoyed On+Giants. Thanks for listening.